Steelers fans, hold on to your terrible towels because what I'm about to break down for you is absolutely massive and most people aren't even talking about it yet. Right now, as we speak, there are players on this Pittsburgh Steelers roster who are quietly making moves up the depth chart that could completely reshape how this team looks down the stretch and into the playoffs. If you want daily Steelers news, breakdowns, and insider analysis you won't find anywhere else, smash that subscribe button right now because what's happening behind the scenes in Pittsburgh is about to blow your mind. You see, when we talk about the Steelers, everyone focuses on the big names. Everyone wants to talk about the quarterback situation, the star defenders, the veteran leaders. But championship teams aren't built just on superstars. Championship teams are built on depth. They're built on guys who show up every single day, put in the work, earn the trust of Mike Tomlin and his coaching staff, and slowly but surely climb their way up the depth chart until one day you look up and realize they're not just depth pieces anymore. They're essential contributors. They're difference makers. And right now, there are 5 players on this Steelers roster doing exactly that. Let me paint the picture for you. We're heading into the most critical stretch of the season. The AFC North is an absolute bloodbath. Every single game matters. Every single snap counts. And while the casual fans are focused on the headlines, the smart fans, the die-hard Steelers faithful, they're watching the details. They're watching practice reports. They're watching who's getting more reps. They're watching who Mike Tomlin keeps mentioning in press conferences with that little smirk on his face like he knows something we don't. And what they're seeing is a group of players who are ascending at the perfect time. Let's start with a name that should have every Steelers fan absolutely fired up: Darnell Washington. Now I know what you're thinking. Washington was a second-round pick. He's supposed to be good. How is this quiet? But here's the thing. When the Steelers drafted Darnell Washington out of Georgia, the narrative was all about his blocking. This guy is 6'7", 270 pounds of pure muscle and aggression. He was supposed to come in and be this devastating run blocker who could move defensive ends off the line like they were practice dummies. And he has been that. But what's happening right now, what's really happening that people are sleeping on, is that Darnell Washington is becoming a legitimate receiving threat. Go back and watch the tape from the last few weeks. Washington isn't just out there pancaking defenders anymore. He's running routes. He's getting open. He's catching passes in crucial situations. Arthur Smith is finding ways to get this man the football, and when he does, defenders bounce off him like he's covered in Teflon. This is a 21-year-old tight end who is starting to put it all together at the exact moment the Steelers need another dynamic weapon in the passing game. Pat Freiermuth is the established guy, everyone knows that, but Washington is climbing up that depth chart, and the role he's carving out for himself is unlike anything the Steelers have had in years. He's not replacing anyone. He's creating an entirely new dimension to this offense. Think about what this means for Arthur Smith's offense. Smith came from Tennessee and Atlanta, where he loved using multiple tight end sets. He loves the physicality. He loves the chess match of putting defenders in impossible situations where they have to respect the run and the pass equally. With Washington ascending, Smith can now deploy 2 tight end sets where both guys are legitimate threats. You can't just stack the box because both of them can go out and catch the ball. You can't go light because both of them will destroy you in the run game. This is the kind of versatility that wins playoff games. This is the kind of development that changes an offense from predictable to unstoppable. And here's the kicker. Darnell Washington is still learning. He's still growing into his body, still understanding the nuances of route running and timing with the quarterback. If this is what he looks like now, imagine what he's going to look like in December and January when it really matters. The Steelers might have stumbled into one of the most dangerous tight end duos in the entire AFC, and nobody is talking about it. That's climbing the depth chart quietly. Now let's talk about the defense because this next guy is an absolute menace, and he's about to become a household name. Nick Herbig. If you haven't been paying attention to what Nick Herbig is doing, you need to wake up right now. This fourth-round pick from Wisconsin came into the league with questions. Undersized. Can he hold up against NFL tackles? Can he be more than just a situational pass rusher? Well, guess what? He's answering every single one of those questions with authority. Nick Herbig is climbing the depth chart behind TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, and he's not just climbing, he's sprinting. Every time he gets on the field, he's making plays, pressures, sacks, tackles for loss. This kid plays with relentless motor and an edge rusher's mentality that you simply cannot teach. Mike Tomlin loves him. The defensive staff loves him. And more importantly, opposing offensive coordinators are starting to game plan for him because they know if they sleep on number 51, he's going to wreck the game. Here's why this matters so much. The Steelers have been blessed with elite pass rushers for years, but depth has always been the question. What happens if TJ or Highsmith miss time? What happens in obvious passing situations when you want to go with your best speed rushers? Herbig is the answer. He's proving that the Steelers don't have a drop-off when he's on the field. In fact, there are packages where he's on the field with both Watt and Highsmith, and offensive lines have no idea what to do. You can't double everyone. You can't account for 3 legitimate edge rushers coming at you from different angles. That's how you get to the quarterback. That's how you create havoc. And let's be real for a second. The Steelers' defense is built on one fundamental principle: pressure the quarterback. Everything else flows from that. If you can consistently collapse the pocket, force errant throws, and create negative plays, your secondary looks better, your run defense stays fresh, and you control the game. Nick Herbig is becoming a core part of that identity. He's not a project anymore. He's not just a developmental guy. He's a legitimate rotation player who is pushing for more and more snaps because he's earned it. That's what climbing the depth chart looks like when you ball out every single opportunity you get. But wait, it gets even better. Let's shift to the offensive line because this is where things get really interesting and where the Steelers are building something special that could pay dividends for years. Spencer Anderson. Most fans don't even know who Spencer Anderson is, and that's exactly why he's on this list. Anderson is an offensive lineman who has been grinding on the practice squad, bouncing between the active roster and the taxi squad, doing all the dirty work that nobody sees. But recently, he's been getting more reps. He's been showing up in practice reports. He's been working at multiple positions across the interior, and the coaching staff is taking notice. Now, why does this matter? Because offensive line depth is the lifeblood of any successful football team. You can have the best skill players in the world, but if you can't protect the quarterback or open holes for the run game, none of it matters. The Steelers have been dealing with injuries and inconsistency on the offensive line all season long. Having a guy like Spencer Anderson who can step in at guard or center, who knows the system, who has the trust of the coaching staff, that's invaluable. That's the kind of depth that keeps your season alive when things go sideways. Anderson represents something bigger, too. He represents the Steelers' philosophy of building through development. Not every player is going to be a first-round superstar. Some guys take time. Some guys need reps. Some guys need coaching and patience and belief from the organization. Spencer Anderson is betting on himself, and the Steelers are betting on him. If he continues on this trajectory, he could be a starter by next season. He could be a key piece of the offensive line for the next 5 years. And it all starts with climbing the depth chart one practice, one snap, one rep at a time. Let's switch gears to the defensive side of the ball again because there's a linebacker who is making serious noise, and Steelers fans need to know about him. Mark Robinson. This is a guy who came in as an undrafted free agent, made the roster almost entirely because of his special teams prowess, and was viewed as nothing more than a core special teamer. But something has shifted. Mark Robinson is getting defensive snaps. He's playing in sub-packages. He's showing up on tackle charts. And the reason is simple. The dude can play. Robinson is fast. He's physical. He's instinctive. He's everything you want in a modern NFL linebacker. Cole Holcomb's injury created opportunities, and Robinson has seized them. Elandon Roberts has been solid, but Robinson brings a different dimension. He can cover, he can blitz, he can chase down ball carriers sideline to sideline. The Steelers' linebacker room has been in flux for a couple of years now, trying to find the right combination of youth and veteran leadership, and Mark Robinson is emerging as part of the future. What makes this so exciting is that the Steelers have always prided themselves on linebacker play. From Jack Lambert to James Ferrier to Ryan Shazier to Devin Bush's early promise, this franchise knows what great linebacker play looks like. If Mark Robinson continues to develop, if he continues to earn more snaps and more trust, he could be the next in that lineage. He could be the guy who anchors this defense for the next decade. And it's happening right under our noses while everyone is focused on the big names. And now the fifth player. This one might surprise you, but it shouldn't, because if you've been watching closely, you've seen the flashes. Beanie Bishop, the undrafted rookie cornerback who has been turning heads since training camp. Bishop wasn't supposed to make the roster. He wasn't supposed to get playing time. But here we are, and Beanie Bishop is getting snaps in the slot. He's covering some of the best receivers in the league. He's not just surviving, he's competing. The Steelers' secondary has been a question mark at times this season. Injuries, inconsistency, growing pains with younger players. But Beanie Bishop has been a revelation. He plays with confidence that you rarely see from undrafted rookies. He's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid to press receivers at the line. He's not afraid to talk trash and back it up. Mike Tomlin loves that mentality. The Steelers' defense is built on attitude and toughness, and Bishop embodies that. What's really fascinating here is the timing. The Steelers are heading into a playoff push, and they're finding out that they have a rookie corner who can actually contribute in meaningful games. That's not something you can plan for. That's not something you can guarantee. But when it happens, when a young player steps up and shows he belongs, it changes everything. It gives the coaching staff more flexibility. It gives the defense more depth. It gives the team confidence that they can withstand injuries and adversity because they have players who are ready to step up. So let's zoom out for a second and talk about what all of this really means for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You've got 5 players, guys who weren't supposed to be major contributors this season, who are quietly climbing the depth chart and becoming essential pieces of this football team. That's not luck. That's culture. That's coaching. That's the Steelers' way. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. Never. And one of the reasons why is because his teams always seem to find contributors from unexpected places. It's the next man up mentality taken to the extreme. It's the idea that every single player on the roster matters, every single player is being developed, and every single player has the opportunity to prove they belong. What we're seeing right now with Washington, Herbig, Anderson, Robinson, and Bishop is the proof that this system works. Omar Khan and the front office deserve credit too. These aren't all high draft picks. These aren't all big money free agents. These are smart evaluations, savvy draft picks, and calculated risks on undrafted guys who have the traits and mentality that fit what Pittsburgh wants to be. Building a roster isn't just about landing the stars. It's about finding the role players who can become stars. It's about depth. It's about development. It's about creating competition where the cream rises to the top. And for the fans, this should be incredibly exciting. Because what this tells you is that the Steelers are not a finished product. This team is still growing. This team is still finding out who they are and what they can be. Every single week, new players are emerging, new combinations are being tested, and the ceiling keeps getting higher. Imagine this team at full strength in January with all of these guys hitting their stride at the same time. Imagine the matchup problems. Imagine the depth advantages. Imagine the confidence. But here's the thing that really gets me fired up. These 5 players climbing the depth chart, they're hungry. They have something to prove. They're not comfortable. They're not satisfied. They're coming to work every single day trying to take someone's job. That's the kind of internal competition that makes championship teams great. You can't get complacent when you've got young guys breathing down your neck ready to take your spot. It keeps everyone sharp. It keeps everyone accountable. It raises the level of the entire roster. Think about what Arthur Smith can do offensively now. Think about the packages he can create with Washington and Freiermuth both being threats. Think about the offensive line rotations he can use to keep guys fresh. Think about the defensive schemes that can be deployed with Herbig rushing off the edge. Think about the secondary combinations with Bishop showing he can handle slot duties. This isn't just about 5 guys getting better. This is about the entire team becoming more versatile, more dangerous, and harder to prepare for. The playoff implications here are massive. The AFC is a gauntlet. Every team in the playoff picture has weapons. Every team has stars. But the teams that make deep runs are the ones with depth. The teams that can survive injuries, that can adjust on the fly, that can throw different looks at opponents week after week. The Steelers are building that kind of roster right now, and these 5 players are a huge part of it. Now, I know some fans are going to be skeptical. They're going to say these guys are just depth pieces, they're not game changers, don't get too hyped, and I get it. Steelers fans have been burned before by overhyping young players. But this feels different. This isn't about potential, this is about production. These guys are actually doing it on the field right now. They're earning their way up the depth chart through performance, not projection. The other thing to remember is that championship windows are built on moments like this. The Steelers' core is strong, but they needed young players to step up and contribute. They needed the draft picks to hit. They needed the developmental guys to develop. And that's exactly what's happening. 5 years from now, we might look back at this season as the moment when the next generation of Steelers stars was born. We might be talking about how Darnell Washington became an all-pro tight end, how Nick Herbig became a double-digit sack guy, how Beanie Bishop became a shutdown corner. It starts here. It starts with climbing the depth chart. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to watch these 5 names over the next few weeks. Watch how much they're on the field. Watch the impact they're making. Watch how the coaching staff is using them. Because what you're witnessing is the Steelers system in action. What you're witnessing is the development pipeline that has kept this franchise competitive for decades. What you're witnessing is the future being built in real time. This is why Steelers football is different. This is why Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. This is why the standard is the standard. Because when you have 5 guys quietly climbing the depth chart, working their tails off, proving they belong, and making the entire team better, that's when you know you've got something special. That's when you know this team is built for more than just a playoff appearance. This team is built to make noise. This team is built to compete with anybody. Steelers Nation, the next few weeks are going to be absolutely insane. These 5 players are going to continue to rise. They're going to continue to make plays. They're going to continue to prove that the depth on this roster is real and it's dangerous. Don't sleep on what's happening. Don't overlook the guys who aren't making headlines. Because quietly, steadily, surely,